Hello, in this tutorial we're going to be covering what options are available to you when adding open-ended comment fields adjacent closed-ended response scales. And the question types that apply are multiple choice, choose all that apply, single response. Question types where you have fixed responses or a list of responses, but you may want to add to one or more or all your responses an open-ended field adjacent that closed-ended response for a text comment or a numerical value or even a percentage. So why don't we jump in and show you how this works. I've already created a sample survey open-ended comments options, and I'm just going to edit this, and we've added a few questions here. So why don't we go in and edit the question, and I'll show you this first question is a simple single response question type, and we've just said including open-ended comments adjacent closed-ended response options. So we have a very simple question with 3 response options, and we can add to those closed-ended response options an open-ended field, and that's what OE here replies to open-ended, and we can just check whichever response we want that open-ended field where we want it to appear. It could be for all the responses, it could be for 2 of them, 1 of them, none of them. So that's how you basically add a simple open-ended comment adjacent your closed-ended response scale. So let's jump down now to the next question where we've done something slightly different. Instead of a text box for an open-ended comment to be typed, now we have the option here below. You'll see a checkbox where we can add numeric values. Now let me say that this only applies to a choose all that apply or select all that apply question type, because you're going to be using variables in more than one response. So we've just created a question here. Over the 12 months, how many of the following procedures do you expect to perform? Let's say you're a surgeon. And here we have 3 different surgical procedures, and we've checked the checkbox adjacent each. And now that input field will require a numeric value only. No text can be entered. And there's no validation other than a numeric value has been entered into the box. There's no total of, like we'll get to next with percentages, where you always want that to be totaling 100% and to have a validation to that effect. So why don't we go ahead and save this, and we'll preview this in a second so you can see how this actually works for the respondent's point of view. And let's edit this question, and now what we've done here is we've selected the percentage option, which also only applies to a choose all that apply because you're having more than one option being selected in the response scale. So here I've added, over the 12 months, what percentage of the following procedures do you anticipate performing? And we have 4 different procedures. We've checked the OE or open-ended text box adjacent each of the 4, and we have the percentage selected. So how does this look when we're actually completing the survey? Why don't we have a look here? So in the first question, very simple single response question where we can have a text box adjacent each or any of your response scales. Now question 2, they're checkboxes instead of radio buttons because it's a choose all that apply question type, and we asked for a numeric value, so you could put in any values adjacent these checkboxes, and you don't have to enter them all. Now the third is using percentages. So now there will be a validation that it needs to equal 100%. So let's just keep this simple, and I'm going to enter. So we now have 60%, Let's say I enter another 20, that would be 80%, not 100%, and when I click next, it will prompt at the top, all responses must total 100% for question 3. So if we go ahead and fix that to 40, which would equal 100%, and click next, it allows us to conclude the survey. So that's how the feature works, and the number of options you have available to you when working with open-ended comment text fields or numeric fields or percentage fields adjacent your closed-ended questions. And keep in mind, I just, for example purposes, demonstration purposes, used our online survey product to demonstrate how the survey may actually look to the respondent, but this feature, as does all of our features, applies to our mixed modality approach, meaning it would also work with our tablet apps, mobile phone apps, kiosk apps, as well as our online survey product. Thank you very much for your time. This concludes the survey tutorial.